guys, welcome to this video. Thank you for tuning in, literally. This video is not going to be my typical light language video, so if that's what you're looking for, I would suggest just going on one of the other many light language videos that I've posted for the energy transfer, healing, sharing, primarily what I refer to it as integration. So I do what I call energy integrate. Having shared that with you guys, this video is a little bit of a mix of a Keep It Simple Starseeds video, Ascension symptoms video, what's going on with the portals or stargates. So it's a little bit logical for those left brain analytical thinkers out there and a little bit multidimensional for those who are just kind of curious what's going on. So if that's not your thing, I would suggest checking out one of the other videos that has the more energy healing associated with it. Although again, I'm not even calling it healing anymore as much as I like to call it just integration. So I'm sharing this. This has to do with the synchronicities that my guidance team has been sharing with me. And I never used to post these. I have so many videos that I've done that I haven't posted. And then later on I go back and go, I should have just posted it because it may have activated someone. Someone out there watching it would have seen it and it would click, because I'm recognizing as I write in my blog, which I did update that recently, so if you guys want to check that out, it is on my list on the description of the videos. There's a link to my blog, which also is kind of a website. It's just a simple blog. It's a freebie blog that I put up there just for everybody's information and a little information about me. Having said that, I recognize that when I write things, the way that I'm writing them, they are activations for people, as well as the light language that I'm offering. I do a lot of different things, and so I like to do, apparently, different activations. So that way I could maybe connect with more people. Some people are visual, some people are auditory, some people are kinesthetic, and the work that I do kind of works with all of that. So this is going to be more informative, but because I am sharing in the energy with the intention of assisting in raising the frequency and vibration, raising the awareness around ascension, there is an energy exchange that comes through even in just these little informative videos, because they are a form of activation just in the sense of maybe someone's out there watching this that's just waking up going, well, I've been seeing that too. That's how I first started waking up. Somebody would post something and I'd say, that's what I've been dreaming about. Or, I would have a lot of synchronicities happen, and then somebody would go talk about what synchronicity is. And that's basically what this all is, it's synchronicity. All right, so if you're not sure what synchronicity is, I would highly recommend maybe watching a Bashar video. Daryl Anka channels, probably is charged from Bashar. He probably helps charge him, but he channels Bashar, which is a higher dimensional entity, we'll call it, or energy. And I just love his work. And so that's something I would highly recommend for you guys. And of course, Magenta Pixie and Lisa Transcendence Brown. Having said that, I'm throwing those guys out there because I learned from a lot of the things I was watching, it was synchronistic that it led me to those teachers or those way showers, because I was getting the information, I didn't know what it was, then I would watch their video and they would tell me what I was receiving. So I'm here to share that with you now. So having said all of that, what I'm seeing is reference to, okay, we're going to start physical. That way, for those of you who are just maybe going through ascension symptoms and you want to just keep it 3D, which is not, this isn't 3D, it's multidimensional, but we'll go from there. So, obviously there's a lot of stuff up here. It's okay if you can't see it. You can screenshot it and then zoom in on it later if you want to. Not that you're really that into it. Figuring all of it out, I'll just give you the basic outline. So, what I've been feeling, I mentioned in my last video, these were the images that I was seeing. I get visions, I have dreams, lots of different things, lots of different activations. This is what I was seeing in my mind's eye. I started drawing it out. And of course, I have, as I mentioned, my art. I don't know that I was really an artist in one of my multi-dimensional beings yet. I haven't really tapped into that yet. But here's what I saw. And now this is a geometric, obviously, shape. But I had been dreaming about bats. I was dreaming about a bat sitting on a roof. I kept seeing references to red roof, and next to the bat on each side were hawks. One hawk was flying, one hawk was sitting there. And this bat was a hybrid of a person. It wasn't just a bat, and it was a very big being, we'll say. And so I'm very guided by my Native American connections to really pay attention to the animals that I dream about. So I'm sharing that with you guys as well. Now, if we look at bat, and I said I was going to go physical, and don't worry, I am. Bat, of course, and a little power animal here too. So for those of you who missed the power animal readings, this is a little bit of that as well. So the power animal that was coming through, I had a lot of them, obviously. This is over several weeks. Usually I do a weekly animal card reading. But bat is rebirth, according to, from my perspective. So the bat energy is all about rebirthing. Bats see with their sonar, right? And so the term blind as a bat is really not correct. But it's ironic because they don't see, they see with their other senses. And it's very accurate. It's amazing. Bats are just amazing creatures. I just really, really love them. Having said that, that's one end of the spectrum. So on one of the synchronicities is bat is the power animal that was speaking to me a week ago, as well as hawk, which are bringers of messengers, or the bird tribe, which is a whole other ball of wax. Having said that, it kept nagging at me that bat, there was more to bat. Things kept coming up. And I was drawn to some of my cranial sacral work. So I went through cranial sacral 1 and 2 workshops and trainings, and I had the pleasure of working with other healers in in those clinics, and I was able to learn a lot about the body. And in cranial sacral, we were looking at the shape of the brain, the pineal gland, the bones in the brain, and all of that. Of course, the whole body as well, hence, you know, sacrum to spot up the spine. Anyways, without further ado, I thought of the sphenoid bone. Now, the sphenoid bone is shaped like a bat. Some people call it the butterfly. When I did the healing work in that workshop, I saw it in my mind's eye when I was working with one of the other healers, practicing with her. I saw her sphenoid bone in my mind's eye as glowing kind of a pink, and then it changed to kind of a light purple, which would make sense for me because purple is, of course, associated with the crown chakra, going in through the crown. But in general, the sphenoid bone is a bone, right? And it houses, and I'm not going to go into all of it. You guys can look it up. I'm just telling you the basics. That's what's going on right now. We've got some activations going on in the pineal gland and the pituitary gland, having to do with the sphenoid. So our bones in general are conductors. They're minerals. And they're going into, we'll call it crystallizing, and they're basically shifting, so to speak. And so as these minerals conduct this energy, they are then assisting in waking up and activating other things in the body. So everything is activating right now. This does not mean that everyone is in the same activation process, but as a collective, there is a specific collective right now, from my perspective, that this is what's coming online for them. Also, again, we might have people that are still in the sacrum. If you look at the sacral chakra or the sacrum, it looks a lot like a butterfly or a bat as well. And that's one of the reasons I love, you know, the connection between the sacrum and the sphenoid in the head, because it's like they're a twin flame for one another, if you want to look at it that way. A mirror reflection of one another. In essence, you've got divine feminine, divine masculine, and I'm seeing this as part of this as well. So I'm kind of going off, and that will be another video, perhaps in video number 2. Having said that, that's what I'm seeing. So we're getting activations in the sphenoid bone. You might have headaches. You might have pressure. The jaw might get tense. You might find yourself grinding a little bit more at night. Again, I would look into parasite cleanse. For those of you out there that feel like you might have a parasite, many people do and don't realize it, it can also cause you to grind your jaw. So that's a whole other, again, video, and I would just encourage you to Google parasite cleanse and do what feels appropriate for you. I believe I have a video on my playlists with a woman who does, who I really enjoyed her work. So you can check her out or just Google it. I'll do a video eventually on that, but certainly don't wait for me to post it to kind of go on your own and see if that resonates with you. So spine, of course, has been going on. The kundalini activation always goes up and down the spine. You might find that bones are moving, shifting a lot more than they used to. You might get up and crack, 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 crack. That's good. You want the spine to move. Everything's kind of reworking in the body. I mentioned the pineal and the pituitary, of course, that sonar with the bat, that third eye, you don't necessarily have to see with. It's sensory, right? It's not just seeing and the eyes, although you might have eye stuff going on. I've been seeing a lot of things out of the corners of my eyes. That's another video. I'm going to talk about dimensions and how we're oscillating in and out of dimensions. I'll just touch on that briefly. As we oscillate in and out of dimensions, we see things that we weren't seeing before. As our third eye comes online, we see things that we weren't seeing before. We experience things that maybe weren't in our reality before because we were at such a heavier, dense layer, hence the term third density or dimensional. Teeth, I mentioned in one of my other videos. This is coming up for a lot of the individuals that I'm working with, but I'm also feeling it in my own reality as well. Heart is always coming up. So whenever these activations occur for me, I do get heart that's associated with it. You may have heart palpitations. And again, it just depends on what stage you're at. The kundalini activates in stages. It's not necessarily just going to happen all at once. That's another video as well, but I'm just touching briefly on these things. The kundalini will happen in stages. Sometimes, you know, one person may be wide open in the heart, but their sacral chakra is completely blocked for whatever reason. And so that has to shift in order to, you know, really come online. The crystal skull, reference to, yes, there are physical crystal skulls. If you look online, there's, I think, 13 of them that we know of that are all over. And there's this rumor that the crystal skulls have been activated, that they hold information, records, earth information. Okay, so that's a physical 3D object. But on another layer, it's the bones in the body and it's the skull. That's really activating right now, that's coming online. Our bones are minerals and they're conductors. So that energy is conducting through the teeth. If you have a particular tooth that is giving you problems, maybe try to figure out which one it is, and just for fun, you can look it up online, I believe under, well, you could probably find it in cranial sacral, but you could find it in any dental, not dental chart, but acupuncture meridians. Look up the acupuncture associated with teeth. It's kind of interesting. What else? Sinuses, eyes, orbits, like I said, seeing different things. You might see flashes, and that leads me to another subject in just a second. Sinuses might be acting up. Butterfly, I brought up a little bit, can be also interchangeable with bat. One is for transmuting, changing, morphing. Bat is being reborn, okay? Also the ability to see through the third eye. Butterfly is also coming up. Lots going on with the thyroid. That's hormonal, and I might have to do a video just on that, but I'm just kind of throwing in. I've got all these little pieces that I want to branch out on once I get everything together. But thyroid. So sometimes thyroid issues are activated and coming up because through this area, that higher heart is coming online and activating, and I see these two kind of talking to one another. Hence this arrow. This is kind of the kundalini. I see this is my butterfly or my bat. If you look at a picture, which I encourage you to Google sphenoid and look at what it looks like. It is amazing. It's beautiful. It looks like a bat. It kind of also reminds me of the, a little light language wants to come through. The scarab beetle. I'm hearing cherubim. So thank you, angels. Ankh, A-N-K-H, life-giving is coming up. I erased that, but many of you can recognize the Egyptian divine feminine, I believe, Ankh. That was coming up a lot during the Leo. My brain is a little mushy right now, so I apologize, but during the Leo alignment, the Lionsgate portal. That's what I was looking for. Vesica Pisces is coming up for this for me for specific reasons. I'm actually a Pisces, but and I do believe there's things going on for Pisces for my birth year specifically. But I see these as an infinity symbol and or the Vesica Pisces or both, and that leads me to double. So I'm going into double. I keep hearing double the Dutch. So I see jump rope. You know, double Dutch, jump rope for those of you who did jump rope or jump rope when you were a kid with 2 jump ropes. And that to me is what the DNA looks like. And I'm seeing 2 strands, right? But it's getting bigger. We're getting a double. So maybe it'll go to 4 strands. I'm not really sure. And again, this is video number 1. I'm still kind of putting this all together. I heard today, okay, so I kind of went over, that's the physical stuff. There are other things, but these are primarily what I'm seeing and feeling in the collective and with all of the beautiful beings I'm working with. Also friends. So there's that. I'm going to move a little bit off of the animals for a moment and go into what I've been seeing. So I brought up in my last video a little bit about you might have flashes. Maybe you've heard about the flash. Guys, I see this as, so for some people it'll be a ginormous flash and it's your pineal gland, or you might be astral projecting. A couple different things happen. I've had ginormous flashes and it sounds like a crack. And it felt like I lifted out of my body and then came back in. And I felt like that was a definite activation. It hasn't happened since. Now, I'm going to come back to this because I've talked about this a little bit. Riding the wave and not crashing. So for those of you Ascension junkies, and you know who you are, I was one too. It's easy to get caught up. I'm getting goosebumps. This is really important. So for those of you Ascension junkies, it's easy to get addicted to Ascension. I know. Isn't that funny? It's ironic, or what's the word? Paradoxical. Anyways, the reason is because you really do get high. Now, for those of you just waking up, I want to also come back to you and say, not everybody does, so please don't expect it. And this leads me back into expectations. So it's not about what's next. How do I get there? Why is this happening to me? Many of us are worried we're future tripping. We're wondering, when is this flash going to happen? When are the dark forces going to be brought to justice? I mean, I could go on and on and on. You guys all know what belief systems people are plugging into. You know, when is the currency going to present itself? The money exchange. When are our ancient, our friends, our extraterrestrial friends going to come down and present themselves? Guys, all of this has already happened. So which timeline do you want to plug into? And that'll decide which one happens first for you. Now, that's a whole other video. Having said that, that's what I keep getting the messages about, is it's not about that. Bring it in and recognize that it's not about any of those things. Those are all outside of you. It's all about this. It's about what's happening here for you. When you get in touch with all of this, all of that other stuff isn't really as important as it seemed like it was at one time. And I'm just going to lay that out there. And I say this with love because I shift in and out. Some days I feel that one of those pieces of information is very important and I'm wondering, and then I recognize, and the messages I get from my guidance team are, Carrie, get back on track. It's not about that. It's about your journey. And so again, it's not what's next. Why isn't this happening? Or I want that to happen. I was just like that. And it will happen. It'll happen actually faster and easier the more present you are, the more inner work that you're doing, the happier you are, the more things you do to find joy. It will then put you in what Abraham Hicks referred to, I think, as the vortex, right? Or Esther Hicks, Abraham, she channels. Anyways, that's another great teacher. I've been listening to her for a long time, on and off. I can't say that I've listened to everything, but I resonated with it. Having said that, Go with the flow, ride the waves. All of us junkies out there that are like, yeah, I can't wait to that next pop. I can't wait till this happens. Or, yeah, it's coming again. Oh my gosh, I'm having all the synchronicity. And then it's like you get excited, it's your birthday, and you get all these presents, and you eat all that birthday cake, and then you crash from the sugar crash. It can happen the same way with Ascension. It's not about those highs and lows. It's about finding 0 point. I'm being guided to talk about the throat, the heart, the higher heart, the thyroid, hormones. So if this is all being activated and you're high, you're going to crash. Those hormones are going to get all crazy. The cortisol is going to come up if you get angry or if you're... So it's about finding that happy balance, and you're going to get really tired. That's okay. You might get really energized. Maybe finding that happy balance. I can get so wrapped up in these energies that I don't eat because I'm not hungry, but also because I forget to eat. And then all of a sudden I eat whatever's right in front of me. And you guys understand how that works. So I just want to share that you can become addicted to anything, even Ascension, even what's next in the journey of truth and disclosure. I could go on with all the stories that we get excited, but then it never comes out into the public, and then we get disappointed. Let's leave that story behind and let's try something different, and it eventually will present itself when we're not trying so hard to get it out there. That doesn't mean give up, and I say this with love. It doesn't mean that it's not important. It just means to shift your perspective back onto you rather than what's outside of you. And then when you change, it's that be the change you want to see in the world. You'll start connecting with other beings and light workers who will then bring about more awareness to what it is that you want to make those shifts. Instead of waiting for, so let me rephrase that. I'm kind of getting a little guidance here to say it like this. Rather than being a junkie about it, and I call it the Ascension junkie, and watching that next video to wonder what's going on with the energies, go inside because you're getting all the signs. And I'm sharing them with you because I was getting these for years. And yes, it's great to look outside of yourself and have validation. It's nice to have that sometimes. But there comes a point when you just got to let that validation go and trust that you're getting the guidance. It's there. But it depends on what stage you're at. And all of those stages are awesome. So I'm just sharing it's different things for different people, right? So you might be in that stage of, oh my gosh, I'm in synchronicity. What's next? Oh, great. Oh, does that mean this? And that's cool. That's not a bad thing. That's a good thing. The question is learning your cycles. So maybe that has shifted, and then you're going through that low, like, oh, I'm not getting any more synchronicity. Well, I'm just going to watch the news and see if the cabal has been announced, or the Illuminati has been exposed. And then you get depressed when you don't see it. I'm just using many examples, and I think you guys are following me. Having said that, they're all good stages. Just recognize when it's time to move out of one stage into another stage. And then maybe you'll come back to that stage because some other piece of information will present itself. So without further ado, I'm going to come back to that. This is some of the flashes that I see. The word that came to mind was sunbelt, and I did a video several months ago that I encourage you to go back and watch if you want to, about spiders, about piezoelectricity. Again, I apologize if I'm butchering that word. Piezoelectric. The spider gets the electricity in its web, and it from a thunderstorm, from lightning, and it jumps timelines. I'm using this all as obviously metaphor. It jumps and then it connects with all of its other electrical brothers and sisters who are in that same honeycomb. I had reference to honeycomb. So people that are vibrating, let's say at that particular speed, that's where you're going to jump and connect in. Now, this was actually a flash that I had in meditation. I'm sharing this with you guys because sometimes I wasn't realizing that these were actually, it's right before you might fall asleep and then all of a sudden you see something and you might not remember what it is. I started to draw what I was seeing, and sometimes they were squiggles, sometimes they were spots, sometimes they were shapes, sometimes I would see a face, and this happened to be my most recent one. I called it red coral because red coral or a starfish had been coming to mind. Now I'm going to go into that in a little bit because this led me to doves and a sand dollar, which is a whole other video. And again, I'll get to that. Red diamond was coming up a lot. There's another, I kept seeing double diamond. So I'm going to go into now, we're getting ready to come into the full moon. I was feeling guided to wear my moon shirt, and then I recognized, oh yeah, we'll have a full moon coming up. I don't remember the exact date it's on. It would be really funny if it was on the 22nd. That would be a pretty cool. But red diamond, whatever that means, there's more. I will do a video probably just on that. It's an energy. I think it's associated with the sphenoid. Okay. But I also see it as a portal. So obviously we see a underlying theme here. So again, as above, so below. So maybe it represents something in the body, but then it also represents something that we're going through in our portal, which, guys, Thanksgiving is on 11/22/2018. Now, if you put those numbers together, it's 11, 22, 11. Now, if you are into numerology, you do not add together, in some practices, you don't add together master numbers. A master number, I think of it as a master builder or a master architect. We're building something. And it's a very powerful portal, which I might just, again, that's maybe in video number 2. I'm just making you aware that we are going through a portal. All of this is connected from my perspective. Cool, right? This is so exciting. I get kind of serious sometimes when I get into these videos, and I want to back up just for a moment because I actually have a lot of fun doing these. So, okay, so 11/22/11. Now, 6 also came up. I haven't gotten clarity on that yet, but I'm sure that I will. Cornucopia came up. Wormhole came up. So I see part of this as I did the video on the caterpillar that turns into the butterfly, that turns inside out of itself, which is a toroidal donut in essence, kind of, or a Penrose triangle. You guys can Google all of those things. And then it spits us out the other end, the arrow, right? And it puts us into another, through a wormhole, so to speak. And while we're in that wormhole, the word that comes to mind is gestating, but I'm just sharing. We're dissolving and clearing energies, and then we can allow ourselves to be rebirthed into another frequency. So I see is like double the Dutch. I'm seeing like it's a double energy. It's like double mint gum. Twins. I'm seeing reference to twins. Guys, this could have reference to twin flames. My version of twin flames is different than other people's, and so I'll share that perspective at another time. It doesn't necessarily have anything to do with the soulmate, so I'm just going to clarify that. Like I said, I even refer as the sphenoid and the sacrum as being a twin energetic system, is one example of a twin flame, and I see a phoenix rising. Okay, so cornucopia, of course, is reference to Thanksgiving. It's also reference to a star system. But let's just keep it simple and talk about a cornucopia as a shape. It's a funnel, right? And I had drawn 2 videos ago. Well, you can even see this little guy. It looks like a funnel. Okay, the funnel, the funnel. So you go in the funnel, which is the hyperbola, and then it mushes everything. So timelines I see kind of merging. You might feel connections with your higher selves, past lives, future lives, versions of you. Things will mush in, and whatever isn't working with the mixture will collapse. Whatever is, I think, or I feel, I shouldn't say I think, I feel, will connect, and then it gets expanded out the other end into a bigger frequency. So maybe it goes in as an 11 and comes out as a 22, as an example. Right? And then maybe back into an 11 and then out into a different number, a 44, for example. Okay, obviously cornucopia also has to do with gratitude. Back to the heart, being grateful. It's Thanksgiving. Not getting caught up in all of the work that goes into it, being present and enjoying whatever you can enjoy on that day. And if you feel like you're alone on Thanksgiving, go volunteer somewhere and offer to assist someone else. Go bring your neighbor pumpkin bread or whatever makes you feel less alone. Recognizing that there's other starseeds out there that are alone too, or feel like they're alone. Whatever makes you feel gratitude and gets you into a higher energy. So whenever we go through these portals, it's important to keep your frequency as high as possible. Not like you can't be low. I'm just saying more recognize that you're being triggered by something perhaps and integrate it. It's not about I'm sunshine and rainbows all the time, because that's not real. That's also an illusion, right? So it's feeling, okay, I feel lonely. I feel isolated. And get a good cry in if you need to. Go punch out that pillow if you need to. Go sit in the steam room. Go do some exercise. Go to a kickboxing class. Do whatever you need to do to help flush that energy through you. Feel it. Don't ignore it. And love yourself for experiencing that and show gratitude for this emotion being brought to the surface so that you can collapse that timeline and then utilize the portal to slingshot or shoot your way like an arrow to the next, what's next, right? But also that integration is not just, okay, I'm over it, I'm integrating into the next one. No, you're feeling it. That's what integrates it. You're acknowledging it, and then you're doing something to shift it, to transform it, using it to fuel your fire, to then go work out, to then go volunteer, to call a friend that you haven't talked to in a while, give someone a hug. That's what it's all about. All right, I'm going to end on that because it's been a pretty long video. The next video, I'll touch into sand dollar and doves. That was good timing. Elastic scattering, the Hindu god Skanda, rising sun and new year, the Pleiades, and all of that next video. So thank you so much. Sorry for that interruption, guys. I think it's kind of a tradition that he interjects at some point during the video now. In love and light, namaste, guys. More videos to come. Thank you. I hope this at least maybe gave you some perspective on what you might have been feeling, seeing, maybe the flashes that you're having, or feelings that are happening in your body, or what you're wondering about. Gosh, I'm feeling like something's happening, because it is in the universe. It's so fun. So thank you. Namaste.